Have you ever ordered one of those exercise machines for the house or one of those big balls or one of those straps that you have to work on? Got it to the house, put together your whole plan to get it done, worked it for a couple of weeks, and then never touched it again. I know you have because I have. In this video, I'm going to share with you why we think of financial planning in the same way that you think about some of those exercise machines. But before I get to that, I want you to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you're alerted to when we post new videos. So we've put together a whole playlist of items you need to consider with regards to putting together your yellow brick road for retirement, your planning. Because I know that you've worked hard for this retirement and we want you to enjoy it. But let me tell you what you have to do now. Because not unlike ordering that exercise equipment that then collects dust in the house, the planning process is the same. Because if you put all your plans together and you understand where your income needs to come from and how to reduce taxes and all the other things we've talked about, and then you don't stay on top of it or review it on an ongoing basis, it's going to have the same value to you as that exercise or tread machine that is just collecting dust. So let me share with you some of the items you need to be thinking about as you move forward after you've put in place that very crucial, important planning for this next chapter of life. So I've got 4 questions that are often posed to me by my clients, and I want to share those with you. And the first is, how often do I review the plan? Now it's interesting because there's really 3 different things or buckets of items that we can review. First, the portfolio. And as we've talked about over and over again, as you've moved into this retirement phase, the distribution phase of planning, which is very different than the money management, you should be able to put together a portfolio construction that is almost on autopilot now, because now it's not so much if you're chasing returns, it's just if the overall portfolio is aligned in accordance with your goals and whether or not it's hitting your own personalized investment benchmark, which we've spoken about in a couple of the previous videos on this playlist. So the portfolio is certainly one thing to take a look at. The other is the overall planning itself, the taxes, bucket list items and all. And we have conversations about that with our clients in our semi-annual reviews. But one of the biggest things that we do review with our clients, if we have an hour meeting with a client, maybe, to be honest with you, 3 minutes is spent on money management, and the rest of the time is spent on overall planning and life. And we want to just make sure that the clients are still connected to their plan, that we're still connected to them, that the assumptions in place are still accurate, that if life has changed or something big in the market has changed, we need to make some adjustments. And we really do believe from an overall planning perspective that doing the semi-annual review is important at a formal basis. And if anything happens in between, certainly they'll call us. And we're certainly overseeing the management of the portfolio on an ongoing basis. So I believe the answer to the question is, once it's set in place and you're comfortable with it, once every 6 months is a good frequency to take a look at the overall planning. The next question that I get is, what if things change? Do we have some flexibility? Now, I recently had a client come in and said, you know what? When this pandemic is over, I am going to take my grandkids to Disney World. So what we did was, because the question is, can I afford it? Remember, if I spend the money today, will there be an impact tomorrow? So the planning sort of takes the mystery out of the decision-making process, but only if you're proactive with it. So let's assume that you're going to spend $15,000 in 2 years to take the grandkids to Disney. What we would do with the plan, with the yellow brick road, is to actually quantify it, put an expenditure for the bucket list of $20,000 in 2 years into the plan. Now that's a new number. And the plan will, based on your assumptions, crank out an answer for us to see if we're still on the right track, if there's going to be an impact to us either now or later. And if so, we want to know that now so we can make any adjustments. Maybe we move the trip out a year, or we don't spend $20,000, maybe we only spend $15,000, but we want to know that answer beforehand. So we're given the confidence and the green light that when we do take the grandkids to Disney, we can just truly go completely unencumbered and enjoy it as we create wonderful memories for the rest of their lives. Now, I'm going to share with you a very important story in just a moment, because it's the fourth item I want to talk about. But before I get there, the third question is, and I get it all the time, am I still on track? Now, that may come from a market that's gone crazy, or headlines in the paper, or some political turmoil, or something that's happened in their life that they now have to respond to. And they really want to know, am I on track? The bigger question from am I still on track is, given what's happening, is there anything I need to adjust? And one of the things that we've seen, particularly in this crazy year that we've been living in, with markets going bananas, up and down so quickly, so violently, and as we watch, we're just getting a migraine, right? The question is, what is the impact of that on us? And it's very interesting because my communications with my clients often have to deal with, listen, you need to divorce your emotions from your economic decisions. Because if we allow ourselves to get burdened with all the negative news that is out there and markets that are going in all sorts of directions on short-term basis, then we may make changes to our portfolio or to our planning that may not truly be in alignment with the overall goals that we have. I can tell you this year, almost $1 trillion has been taken out of the market in anticipation of the election, as a result of the uncertainty with the market, the precipitous drop of the market in March. And much of that money did not go back in when the market was headed back up. So many retail investors did not participate in this tremendous rally that we've been experiencing the last 6 months. But a disciplined approach to understanding where you need to be over a long period of time, and then just making minor adjustments to the portfolio, will help you to maintain the disciplined approach and being on track for your goals. Now, if your goals change, then we may need to make adjustments to the portfolio or where the income comes from. But if things do change, you want to go back to your financial planner. My clients come back to me and say, listen, based on this or that, am I still good? Now, the final question that is really important to ask, particularly as you're interviewing financial planners, is what should I expect from my financial planner? And let me share with you the story I'd referenced before. So we had picked up a brand new client a while ago. Her husband had worked for GE numbers of years ago. He had retired and he had almost 100% of his 401k in the GE stock. And for years, that was not a problem. But that goes back many years ago, because the stock for the past many years has come down like this. It used to be up at 60 and 40 and 30, but when I met this client, the stock was down somewhere in the vicinity of $6 to $7. So it had lost 80% of its value. And now she had come to me because he had passed 6 months prior, and she was working with Fidelity. And when she brought her statement in, as she was about to enter an agreement with us to move forward, I talked to her about the fact that she had 100% of the GE stock in her 401k. And, you used to have this amount, and now you have this amount, and we're going to have to deal with that. And her comment to me was, well, shouldn't Fidelity have called me? And that is the difference between one of these large brokerage services where you, in essence, have to be proactive to reach out to them to see if anything changes, versus working with a specialty shop like ours. We deal with specifically retirement and the transition into it. And therefore, we are proactive with our clients in terms of keeping them up to speed. When things need to change, we reach out to them. That is our primary role with them, to be there. Because I believe the big difference between a firm like ours, if you will, that is client-centric, and many other of these big shops, is that sometimes you go in, maybe you roll over your 401k with them, and maybe you hear from them once a year, versus what we've heard from our clients. What they want from us is they want us to walk hand in hand with them throughout the journey. And that's where we take a lot of pride. So you should expect from a financial planner, I believe, have somebody who will be with you to walk you up that mountain with you, to have proactive, frequent, consistent communications, and to be available to you when things are happening. So that's what you need to do in terms of maintaining that exercise bicycle, that financial plan. And for more information on the whole planning process and our 7 steps, make sure you take a look at our playlists. And I truly hope you do enjoy the retirement journey.